Hey, what's up, Carlos? Let me adjust my volumes here. Alright, so you see I got the metrics here for the stream, so hopefully everything goes well, but I always keep an eye on that now after having the problems I had last week. So we're just going to wrap up a couple bugs, and I started adding some not new stuff, but stuff that the new character select screen was missing, and I'll show you that in a minute. Alright, so first bug I fixed for the character select screen was the weird bug that would sometimes cause player one's fighter to be misaligned. Let me see if I can give you an example of that real fast. I know Michael's got some footage on his video from 2v2 tags, so we'll see if I can't get that to show. While that buffers. You'll see as soon as the game starts, they'll start switching characters, and you'll see player one just has crazy offsets. You can notice the alignment of player one's character sometimes is off, and that was due to sharing of the RAM was mixed up between player one and player two. That's used for the location of the characters. What's up, Tentry? What's up, Carlos? Tektronix, what's up, dude? Alright, so here you go. Watch player one. See how Shang Tsung, the second character here, it's off screen. So that's the first bug that's been fixed. And you can see it also rolls into the versus screen also. So that's the first bug I fixed this morning. So that's good. What I also started adding here also. Let me pause the music there. By the way, that music is from Retro Mura. He was nice enough to allow me to use it. It's a pretty good cover, metal edition of the original Mortal Kombat soundtrack. So let me reset this here. I'll show you what we're doing now. So basically, when we're doing 2v2 tag, I'm going to disable the ability to have duplicate fighters, so you can't pick two of the same fighters, and that's what we're adding. So right now it's not finished yet, but now you got to select the same character. It won't allow you to select the same character. So the only thing I need to do now to make this fully functional and complete is to add a you can see that part right there. Alright, so you can see the process has started for that. I think that's a pretty important thing when doing 2v2 is disabling the ability to have duplicate fighters, the same fighter. So that's where we're at. So right now when you go to select your second fighter, it's going to check to see if it's a duplicate. If so, right now it's just going to play the block sound effect, and it's going to loop back into the input check. But we need to also make a provision for when the time runs out. Because if we just let this time run out, it's going to select a character regardless. But we don't want that. Alright, so let's see. As you can see, it never ends the selector instance either. So that's what we're going to work on. We're going to do that. So what's going to happen here is we have a section of when the time's up. It's going to inject that fighter selected thread, which is here. But if it's the same characters, or if it's the same characters and the time has run out, we have to physically move the location of the selector because we want to have a different character selected. We want to force a different character if it's already highlighting the same character. So what I started doing here is just a little keyword here, just dead beef is going to be an A11. So let's see if that is the case. So we can differentiate when this is executed. We want to see if this is from time's up or if it's selected by the character or the player. Yeah, there will be tectonics. There will be a random select. Okay, so we don't have, let's see. Let me make sure I have the updated script here. Alright, so when we come to this portion of the script for execution, it's going to have our instance for our selector already in A0. So what we're going to do is this value does not carry over into it. So what we'll do is we'll find that instance, and then we'll put a flag. We'll set that flag in that structure of that instance. So right now we're in A0, register A0 instance E, and that's player 2's second selector. So that's going to find the procedure, and that is 1071DFO, it looks like. So we'll go in the structure and we will take a look and see what we have where we can store a flag. So we know that that selector is being forced to select a character. What's up, Sawa? Where's Retro at? Is Retro in here? Retro Mura? Alright, so that's that. I believe these are my current definitions, my equates for the structures of the selectors. Let's see, location updated structure. So we have 200 location, 170, 200. General rule is anything over 200 is safe. You can manipulate however you want for these structures. So let's see, 170 and 230. So let's take a look at 200 here. So it'd be 107, 1FFO. And 1FFO seems to be open, so we can probably use the 200 offset. So what we'll do here is we'll move let's do 1 into A11, and then we'll move A11 into the value of A0 at that 200 offset. Set time ran out flag. There we go. So we'll do that. So then when we come into this fighter selector thread, we can check that and see if it's being forced upon to select a character because time ran out. If so, then we will manually select a new character instead of just playing the block sound. What's up, Eduardo? Alright, so we will do. Alright, so fighters are duplicate. So should we still play the blocked sound effect and then select the new fighter? Or should we just bypass that block sound effect and just select a new fighter? Seeing how we're going to have a couple new sounds. We're going to have the selection sound, and then we're going to have the character's name being announced. I think we probably bypass the block sound effect. So if that's the case, we'll go into A13 and our 200 offset. And we'll jump here. Time didn't run out. Okay, so we'll jump there. Jump to runtime if equals 0. So here it's going to execute when fighter is forced to time run out. Alright, so here we want to take a look at the selector's location, and we need to force a new character if time has ran out and they're still hovering the same character that they've already selected, because the whole idea here is to disable duplicate fighters in 2v2. Alright, so we'll go take a look at our selector, and our selector will show us selector object chain, location of selector data structure, slash object thread, location of selected data. Alright, so I gotta refamiliarize myself with the structure layout for the selector and how it relates to the character IDs. So a little bookmark there. So what we're going to do is we're probably going to go into, let's see, fetch portrait index. So there's our portrait index. We also have, here's our boundaries for our character select screen layout, so we're going to be using that. We could do a simple static change to the selector too. We will probably do, the ideal solution would probably be to calculate where we're at and see where we can move our selector to, up, down, left, or right, depending on the boundaries, and then pick one direction randomly. Makes the most sense. Alright, selector object dimensions. Fixing the game. Yeah, we are fixing the game really good. We're fixing the game really good. Alright, so now I have to, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong screen. So now, here's our boundaries, by the way, our structures. So the way this works here is this tells us, okay, our character ID, I'm sorry, not our character ID, but our portrait index, whatever portrait index we're on, when we press the up button, if our portrait index equals one of these values in this structure, this array, then we can move up. But if it's not listed, like for instance, if we're on portrait index 1, which would be Liu Kang, it won't allow us to move up. And that's how that works. Same thing with down, left, and right. So we may do a boundary check, or hopefully there's a more simpler way to do it than just running through the boundary check routine. My fan off because it seems like I was getting a lot of feedback from the fan. I got a fan next to me. Alright, so we need to find out let's take a look at our structures here in the selector. So right now we are in process 107 1DFO, which was right. And let's see if I can locate our portrait index from here. Currently it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Game mode 0. Oh, I see. Let's see. Yeah, we're in E. DFO E. But I don't see. Okay, I think I'm recalling how this is done. This is going to be laid out in a chain of the objects of the portraits. So we have selector object chain. We have controls, location of sprite header for player number. CO. So it's not the selector object chain. It's not the controls. Location of opponent character ID is 170, and that should be 134A7. Okay, so 310. It looks like this might be it, so let's take a look. And we got 2100, which is going to be FFF2 6C6FO. Alright, so this is our structure for our selector. Let's see, our opponent ID location, sprite header location. Okay, location inside portrait arrangement structure, play 2-star position. What's up, Arturo? What's up, Grim? No, Sawa. All the 3 characters you named will be in the beta one. This version of MAME that I'm using doesn't support the custom graphics bank that the other version of MAME does. That's why you don't see them, but they're there. For some reason, I'm having a problem trying to find. Okay, so let's see, input up. Update from character ID. Fetch portrait index. Okay, this is what I want. Right here. This finds the index of the portrait we are moving from. Okay, so looks like we can probably call that to get our current index and then see which way we can move from. So let's put that.
One of the exciting things about
Alright, so there's more to be done there, but I just want to copy this over real fast just to get an idea of the data I'm expecting to see after running that routine. So we'll build this real fast. Alright, so let's see. I want to run it on jacks just so I can expect 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as our index. Alright, so alright, so let me put a breakpoint here and we'll see. What's up, Cesar? Alright, so this is our routine. It's going to get our current index location of our selector of what character we're on. So let's see what to expect here. A0 is going to return we got a 2 and A0. Oh, I see. Okay, that's going to return our character ID. Okay. Portraits layout. Okay, so this is our current layout of our portraits here. And it's going to take into consideration the character ID right here when checking where we're at. So A3 looks like it should return the loop count, because you see we're doing a loop here, and A3 is going to go into A0, and it should return what index we're on. So we're comparing, it looks like we're playing character IDs with, okay, so we're expected to have value in A0 to compare with, which would be, it's like it's been a while since I've actually been in this part of this script for this new character select screen, so a lot of this is just kind of just relearning how I did it. Alright, so let's do okay, this fetches our portrait index and checks if it's allowed to move from boundary direction location in A2. So it's like A1 is going to have what we have here. This is the basic input checks. If we're moving up and it passes the boundary check, then these are going to be the location offsets for the selector. So could be a lot easier. Could be an easier way of doing this. We could just go right down the line here. You know, go up if we can go up, go down if we can go down, left, right, etc. Until we find a character we can select. Which we can probably do that. but we'd have to remove the actual input check portion of it, which would be here. So we can jump here. Or we can just copy this section and go from there. Which might be the best way. Not the most efficient, but it would take out the input checks on all of these because we obviously want to do all 4 directions. Alright, so let's do that. And we'll need some new jumps, so we'll just do TRO, time ran out. Down check, and we'll do, let's see, we got up, down. And right. I really like to optimize this a little bit more instead of having to copy all this code and reuse it. It would be nice to optimize it, but I haven't been in this script for a while, so I don't want to screw a bunch of things up. That would be no bueno. But basically, we're going to do we'll copy the up, down, left, right checks, and then update character ID from portrait, and then it'll do the selection. And then from there, we just have to end the selector thread, and that should be good. Inject rest of slide into thread. Hoping we can just jump to update character ID from portrait. That'd be nice. Alright, so let's grab our other inputs real fast. It's kind of linear in the way that it goes. I mean, and it's just the best way to do it. As far as the original input checks go. So seems like the stream is doing pretty good. That's awesome. Alright, so when time runs out, we would do boundary checks to see which way we can go. And then update character from portrait. Alright. So I may move this so we can reuse it. Because this is going to update the ID from the portrait index that we're on. It's going to play the selector sound. It's going to move the selector. It's going to slide in the character also. It looks like we have the project slide reset. So what we can do is we can, let's do this. Let's nest that right in here. So we'll take all of this. And we will do, we'll put that here with the return, and then we will take character from portrait. Yeah, let's rename this to So by doing this, we can call this same code. We can reuse this. Alright, so that allows us to reuse this without copying a bunch of that code. We had to rewrite the input stuff just because we don't really want the input check. We just want the boundary and the selector location offset updates from it. Alright, so we'll do that. And alright, so let's see what happens here. Let's put a little mark there just for reference. Alright, so let's see. When our time runs out, we're going to double check, make sure we're not highlighting a character that's already selected. If so, we're going to go through and first of all, we're going to check up, then down, then left and right. So it's pretty predictable, I guess, which one you're going to get. So if you let the time run out on Scorpion up here, the next guy is going to be Jax, because it's going to check up. It's going to see we can't move up. And the next one's going to check us down. So it's going to see that we can move down. It's going to move down, and Jax should be the guy we get selected. Which it's not a big deal. I mean, we could randomize it. But I can't think of any other way to do that rather than putting pointers in RAM to do that, because it's got to go through the whole sequence, and the only way we can do that would be probably doing the up, down, left, right as location pointers, and the only way you can randomize those is if we put those into RAM and then go down that sequence after they're randomized. So I think we'll stick with this. This should be pretty good. Hey, what's up, Retro? Thanks for the jams, man. We are jamming out. Let me know if it's too low. I can turn it up. All right, so let's move this over and see how it goes. Hopefully everything goes well. Looks like the stream's going strong still. We have a bitrate bitrate expectancy of 4,000, and we seem to be right above that. So. Alright, so I'm just playing around with the selector stuff, making sure that's all good after relocating that. Looks like Okay, so that's good. Alright, so let's see what happens when time runs out and we select the same character. So what I'll do is we'll get a breakpoint here. Actually, let's go right here. Okay, so we'll just go down the list here. Maybe I can explain how this is working as well. When time runs out, we should have a breakpoint on this part of the script. Alright, so here we are. Time's running out and it's trying to select our character. Let's take a look and see what's going on here. First off, it's going to grab the instance. We're in C. And C is player 1's second character. So we're going to grab player 1's character. It's going to grab player 1's second character, which are both jacks. Compare after the same. And it's going to jump down here. And then we're going to pull the value out of the 200 offset for our structure here and see if the flag is set. If it's true. If it's not true, then it's going to continue on because the true instance would be if we ran out of time. In this case, it is true. So we do have that flag set, and then we're going to do our boundary checks. So right now it's going to check for up. It's going to put up in there, and then it's going to go through the boundary check routine. It says, okay, we can move up, so we're going to move our selector offset by these offsets here. And then we're going to jump down here to update character after selector movement. There you go, how's that? Let me know how that is. What's up, Fortuna? A0 to A1. Fetch portrait index. So A0 should have our portrait index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is correct. You see A0 has 5. Going from left to right, top to down, we got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is correct. I know we have to do though, we forgot to end our selector instance. We have to do our selector instance. Actually, no, this is the wrong spot. We are right here. Okay, so we still have to select. We still have to end our selector instance. So if this all goes well and Jax or Scorpion should be selected, then the selector will probably still be on screen. So. Okay, so yeah, so it is selecting a new character. What we have to do is we have to do our selector sound effect, and then so what we're going to do is that portion is reused from the original routines from the game, so it's going to be interesting. Here we go. We can do this. We can just jump right here. We can do just jump straight to, actually we can Excellent. So we can do that, and we can jump to allow fighter selection or get selected ID. And let's see, so we do jump around. Get selected fighter ID should be where we want to go. So that might be it. So let's copy this over and check this out. See how she goes. If everything goes well, we have hopefully finished the new character select screen with the ability to lock duplicate fighters, because let's face it, I mean, you shouldn't have two human smokes on your side. It just wouldn't be fair. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Okay, so we'll do a save here, and just for shits, we'll do. We'll see what this does. We'll just let it play through. Should select Scorpion. There we go. Alright, so let's check the down. Let's make sure it's going to go down first, because the process of execution is going to go up, down, left, right. In this case, it should do jacks once times ran out and it sees we have the same character selected. Okay, so that's good. Let's do up, down. Well, it didn't like that, did it? Let's see, so I want to check before I look into that little crash. Up, down is good. You know, I come to realize there is no need right now for a left and right, because you can either go up or down and not get a duplicate. But if we were to do some work on the tournament mode, that's probably going to be a good thing to keep in there. So even though it's not necessarily needed here, we're going to keep it in there just in case we get a game mode like the tournament mode, where we're having more than two fighters, because I can see how that could come into play, needing to go left and right at that point. But I'm interested in knowing why. I got an idea of why it didn't play nice, but we're going to find out here. I think it's going to be because there's going to be no character selected here, and that's going to cause a crash. So let's see. Okay, got an idea of why that's happening too. Alright, so it's skipping all this code if it's the primary selector instance. So we may have to bring the first selector into play here. Let's just step through this here. So we'll let time run out and get this breakpoint. Alright, so this is player 2's first selector instance, which should be a D. Yeah, it is D. So if it sees that it's D or B, which is going to be player 1 and player 2's primary selector, then it's going to just skip all of this. And then it's going to spawn the second character also. And here is the second fighter being spawned. And it's going to check to see if it's B or D. It's not B. So we're going to skip down here, and this is going to be player 2's. I think the problem is the conflict of this update character after selector movement routine, because this is making a character slide in. But I think also on this selector spawn second fighter routine, I think that's also doing the same thing. Let's see. So we are at this point in code right here. So this is creating a selector. And this is going to send the first fighter backwards. Everything seems okay. Let's see at what point do we crash. Are we going to make it past this delay here? Okay, so we're good there. And let's see if we get past. I don't think we get past the point of moving the first character backwards, but we'll see here. Okay, so this is player 2's also. So what's happening here is the second player hasn't even slid in yet, and it's forcing the selection of the second player. It's not ready yet. So let's do this. I got an idea. We have a location here where they are forcing the selections. And right here, see this delay here? I'm curious if this delay increased between the forced fighter selections would fix this whole problem. So let's do that. Let's pull that up and try to play with that the process delay time here. Alright, so it's player 1, player 2. Alright, so this would be the delay between player 2's first character and second character. I'm just going to put a large number in there. See what happens when time runs out. Okay. There we go. So it behaves. It behaves. So we'll do that. We'll roll with that. It gives that second selector time to be spawned, and it gives the second fighter time to be presented as well. So now what we're going to do is we're going to find what value works the best here as far as a delay. Alright, so to make this quick, let's remove these breakpoints here. We're at a 30 delay now. Okay, so that's obviously a little too long. Let's do a 20. Okay, that's looking pretty good. But I think we can do a little better than that. So we're at 20. Let's do 18. Okay, 18 looks pretty good. I don't want to push it too much. So during the forced selections, let's do. Actually, I've had 18 between player 1 and player 2 as well, so that does make sense. Alright, so let's see. What might work best is if we do, because right here we got player 1. Let me make sure we got player 1. We've got player 1's first character is B, and since player 2's first character is D. Okay, so we do have that. We have player 1, player 2's primary. Then it goes for 18 delay, and it goes player. Okay. Let's build this and see how it goes. I feel like I can shorten some of those sequences. But let's make sure we don't crash, because that's the important thing. So besides this character select thing, I think there's one bug with Liu Kang's fireball at a distance. And that should be it. That should be all the known bugs that we found. Then we can turn this over to the contributors. They can play with it for a good week or two, and maybe find something, maybe not. And after that's all good, then we can release it to the general public. But let's just test this out here, the delays between character selections, and see if we can't tweak this, make sure it doesn't crash. So it's kind of sequential there. I wonder if there's, because it goes 1, 2, I wonder if we can't go into, if we can't go into here and eliminate player 1 and player 2's delay and not have any problems. That would be good, because I'd like to see both primaries selected and then both primary or both secondaries. So what we'll do here is we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. So that should skip that delay between player 1 and player 2. And then we'll have a 18 delay, and then what we'll do here is we'll also skip the other one between 3 and 4. Alright, so we'll save that state, and then we'll see how this goes. It should select both primaries at once, and then give a delay, and then both secondaries. Yeah, it didn't like that too well, apparently. So hello, Ancient One. Yeah, Retro, that sounds good, man. Alright, so A is pretty decent. I think I just tried 4. I'm just trying to minimize the delay as much as possible with no crashes. What's up there, Juan? MK Mexico? Alright, seemed like it was a little fast after that, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a small delay in here so it's not so fast, so it kind of stays at the character select screen before merging into the versus screen. So let's do that. So we've changed the delays between player 1 and player two's primaries to 8 ticks instead of 18. And we do the same thing between player 1's second character and player 2's second character. We changed that from 18 to 8. So it should be good. So let's roll with that. Let's build that and see how it performs. Interested in seeing Michael and Ryan test this on machines. They always seem to find something with the character select screens. So we'll let this time run out and make sure our characters are selected properly without crashing. And also make sure they don't select any duplicates. Alright, seems pretty good. I'm going to play around with the controls here. Make sure I don't have any crashes when the controls are going around. Okay, seems pretty good. Excellent, excellent. Oops. A little bit of stutter here on my emulator. Takes a little bit more out of the system with Debugger running. Okay, I think we're good in that department, so I'll get this to the testers and have them test that a little bit better than I can. And the other thing was Liu Kang's Fireball. Look into that, and that should be the last thing that needs fixed. Pending no problems with the new code on that versus screen, or the character select screen. Alright, let's see if we can find this bug for Liu Kang. Trying to remember exactly how you do it. I think Sub-Zero has to be fallen. What would you do? I don't know, Ancient One. That would be, I'd probably stay away from that guy. Like this bug is, it's not a real big bug either. It's a small one. Let me see if I can find uh, more information on that bug. Or maybe a video of it. Alright, so we can cross this out. Just fix that bug. Yeah, not seeing it on here. Oh, here we go. Here we go, here we go, here we go. So this is the bug we're fixing. Ah, okay. So that is, as you can see, Shang Tsung turned the wrong direction. Let's do that mini player. Let's get the mini player up there. Okay, so is a tag necessary? That's what I want to know. So, I'm guessing so. So. Alright, let's check that out one more time. It gets up, walks forward, and then he turns around the wrong way. Okay, I see it. Okay. Only after a block. Okay. So the problem with that is Liu Kang's fireball is like an anomaly. His lower one, I think his upper one too, because the thing comes out so far that it's considered two different types of projectiles, and the first one inherits his current structure, and the second one is an independent projectile. Let's save the character select one. That one's good. And this is going to be in our 2v2 hitbox update attack its opponent object. So this portion was reworked, and it pretty much updates the defender's structure to focus on the last thing that hit him, because there's a couple static addresses locations in the in a fighter structure, and it makes the one is the focal point, makes it face the object accordingly, and that's kind of what you're seeing, what's going up or going wrong in this picture. And the second one is the control structure or procedure for their opponent, and that deals with a lot of hitbox stuff. So we're going to look at the focal points. It's just a 140 offset of the defender. Actually, let's do this. Let's get this. And you can see here Sub-Zero's structure is 106 BCDO. And at the 140 offset, his focal point is going to be 103 1B00, which is Liu Kang, and the 106 FB40 is going to be Liu Kang's control structure. You'll see these change when a tag comes in. So there's Scorpion's information, there's Liu Kang's. So if we keep an eye on that, we'll probably see a new one pop in there because he faces the other way. I'm assuming it's going to be his fireball. Oh, I guess it helps if I tag like I'm supposed to. Kind of hard to do this on a keyboard and a controller, both characters at the same time. Yeah, didn't have a problem there. Oh, let's try this again. Okay. Can't seem to be consistent with the bug. What's up, Mariano? How you doing, buddy? Yeah, where's Parallax? Parallax must be working. There it goes. Okay, so I don't know if I even pressed forward that time. So in either case scenario, if the opponent would happen to look the wrong way, there's a little safety net I put in there that makes them reevaluate their situation and correct themselves. As you can see, that's what happens. Okay, so yeah, so what's happening is he's still he's facing towards Liu Kang's fireball, which I don't understand why it's behind him after it hits him, but I guess it is. I'm guessing because what we have to do is walk forward after we block the fireball, and that does put the fireball, its last known existence, its position behind him. So that's probably what it is. Alright, so we know why it's happened, so let's find out how to fix it. What are we going to do? What we could do is we can do a secondary check for the object that it's going to face to make sure that that object is visible. If not, then don't update. I can kind of see maybe a reptile problem coming into play. I'm just trying to think of if it would even be possible being invisible reptile and having this same kind of bug happen. I'm gonna say it's highly unlikely. So let's do. Let's see something here. So 103 1B00 is Liu Kang's current object structure. Yep, okay, I see it. So the problem is I don't know, for some reason with Liu Kang's fireball, it's the only projectile in the game that inherits Liu Kang's procedure. Yeah, it's going to be kind of tricky to distinguish either it's Liu Kang or it's his projectile. Because well, I guess we can do a projectile instance check, but that's kind of generic. It's probably going to say like 700 or something, which would be good because Liu Kang's either going to have 1, 2, 3, or 4. So 103 1B00. So right now we have a 103 58 EO. That is the location, that is the object of Sub-Zero's focal point. And if we were to do, let's do an offset check here, 1FO is 58DO, and that looks like it's actually Scorpion that it's, so let's slow motion this. Okay, let's try again because we didn't get the fireball in that. So 103.0240. Alright, so that's got to be the fireball we're focused on right now. 0240. 0430 is going to be the ID. 0430. Okay, 0. Yeah, so right now at this point, his focal point is being hit by that fireball, so his fireball is currently in Sub-Zero's structure. And one of the flags we can call is, let's see here, let's go into this, is 160. Because if we go into, let's open this up real fast. Actually, I don't need that. I got 160 offsets. Okay. So make invisible. Actually, let's go. And we have display equates here. And right here we've got, let's see. Invisible, where are we at? Invisible, so, okay, so. So 20, so we're gonna check and see when this is invisible. 03 AO. Right now it's got 2, and if we look at 2, you see our binary is 0010, And if we go over here, 0010, pretty much that flag tells us to shadow it. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense since it's got no shadow, but probably just a generic assignment with all the objects. But the draw attribute also has a lot to do with whether or not a shadow is drawing as well. So that's probably why it doesn't have a shadow, even though one of the flags is set to have a shadow. So let's get 20. So if we do. I don't think the visibility properties are even going to change. I think it's just going to be destroyed. And here it is being destroyed because the index chain has updated. Okay, so that has been destroyed. So that wouldn't work. That idea of checking for an invisibility property would not work. Such a small problem, but you know, it's see, there's an exception just for Liu Kang's fireball. It's a weird. I mean, it might even be better to actually update the original routine for the fireball and give it a unique procedure so it doesn't cause this problem. Shirayu, how you doing, buddy? What's up, Mary VB? How you doing? Thank you. But I feel the character select screen bugs are a big fix. I'm pretty happy with those. Pretty happy with those because that was looking pretty ugly. I see your messages, Retro. Give me a minute and I'll check them out. Alright, so this is the routine that that I wrote specifically to update. It's kind of like a dynamic update of the focal points of the defender to face the direction that the hit came from. And Liu Kang's fireball is a weird anomaly with projectiles, so that one is causing a little bit of problem. I'll see if I can get it to do it again. But what happens is that if after a tag, you can walk forward after a fireball is destroyed, walk past its position, and Sub-Zero will do a quick turnaround as if he's focusing on the fireball still. Like so. There we go. There we go. So what that comes down to is we can also tighten up the tolerances for the auto check, the direction, sanity check for the direction of the facing character as well. I kind of tightened this up already, so it's anymore it might become irrelevant, but then again, this only happens during a tag, so the problem might even be in here. So let's take a look in here regardless. What's up, Pimpballer? How you doing? Sonido, the beta 1 will come about a week or two after the contributors get it, and this is pretty close to being ready for contributors. I just got this one last bug here, and I'll send it off to Parallax for some testing, and Posty Bros for some machine testing. And if everything comes back good, then we will get it in the hands of the contributors, and then after they have a week or two with it, then the general public. So that's the plans. Alright, so let's see. Get flipping guys procedure location. Opponent's control procedure location. Opponent's procedure address. Place flip in guys control procedure address. Okay, so that is the procedure. We are focused on the object. 106 FB40. I wasn't. No, that's irrelevant, I guess. We got to focus on the object because that seems to be the problem with Sub-Zero, with Liu Kang's fireball for some reason after the tag. Alright, so let me do this. Let me get this breakpoint. Let's try that again. So my fingers are not cooperating at all. Okay, so yeah, he's focusing on the old fireball before this comes into play. And this is correcting it, so. Alright, so we pretty much found that this is all good here. Alright, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to put a breakpoint on this focal point update here. Okay, so 103, 1B00 is Sub-Zero's current object focal point. And that is Liu Kang for the time being. So if we step through this, get those performance metrics off, I think we're doing pretty good on the stream. Let's see at one point can this cause this problem here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull in the control structures of player 1 and player 2. And then we're going to compare our current process, which is A13, 106 FB40, and it's going to compare it, and they are equal, because player 1's control structure is where this is running from, and that is Liu Kang's. So now we're going to get our objects. We're going to get player 1's object, in A0, which is Liu Kang's, 103 1B00, and then we'll get player 2's object in A1, which is Sub-Zero, and we'll compare our current object, which is 103 2FAO. So that is our fireball that's hitting Sub-Zero. So we know it's not our fighter that's hitting Sub-Zero, it's something else. So at that point we know it is, where are we at? Check secondary procedures. Okay, so now we're going to check our secondary procedures. It's not it. So what's happening is, I believe this here is running when our second character is flipping in after Sub-Zero blocks that fireball. It's showing our secondary character control as being active, and it's tricking Sub-Zero to turn around. So if that were the case, we would pull in from A13. It looks like it's running from All right, let's do a quick sanity check here. Let's check this object here. 103 2FAO. And there's our index, there's our location, our Y location, our draw attribute, our palette, our sprite percentage, our 160 flags. Alright, let's check. FB40. So this is, let me try to explain the fireball thing with Liu Kang, which is causing so many troubles. And it's a unique situation because his projectile is the only one that does this. So normally when you fire a projectile, the projectile's got to go across the screen. Therefore, it has its own procedure that it follows, and it's a different looking object, so it's got its own object structure as well. So normally when you do a projectile, it's got its own object address and then its own structural procedure or procedure structure address. But for some reason with Liu Kang's fireball, his fireball procedure inherits his character procedure. So it makes these checks here irrelevant. So that's why this little section here was input into this routine, because then it does a secondary check and it checks the objects to see if it's his fireball, because if the objects don't match, then we know there's something going on there. So at this point, everything should work fine. It should do an object check for player 1, player 2. And they shouldn't be equal. So then we're going to check secondary procedures. It's kind of odd how he turns around after the object's destroyed. Alright, so let's try this out. I'm loading in the second objects, the second fighters, to see if they equal as well. I notice this only does it when we're tagging. So let's try that out. Let's see if that's going to help us out. Oof, and of course it looks like we're gonna have to relocate some code, maybe. Oh no, we've barely squeezed it in there, so that's good. Alright, so make sure our OD5, let's make sure all of our hooks are up to date. F3 DO. And F430. And this same routine is how I fixed the spear bug as well. There was a spear bug that was kind of a pain in the butt, but kind of updated the actual routine of the spear itself and made the character face whichever way the spear was coming from. Because the original way it was written didn't work so well for tags. Just test out the old lockout once more. Yeah, soon enough, dear Mariano. Soon enough. Alright, so I've got an idea. We can distinguish this projectile a little bit better by checking. Let's see, I think it's the 190 offset of the object structure. So if we check that at 7B70, it doesn't look right. So 103.79 EO. Let's see, that is the object, 103.79 EO, and I thought it was 197B70, but it's not. It's 200. Wait, 1 AO. 1 AO. Let's see here. Let's double check. There are offsets here. Projectile, so 1 AO looks to be yeah, 180 showing a 107.64.50 address, which I'm pretty sure that is going to be our actually, I'm in the wrong section. We want object. This is how I keep track of also of structures and so the 1 AO offset looks to be a projectile procedure location if the object is a projectile. So if that's the case here, you can see our 1 AO is going to point to 7B80, and it looks like 107.64.50. And there's our procedure location, and let's see. Usually an instance ID is located at the 20 offset. In this case, it would be 6470, wait, 6450, 6070. It's showing a BF, which is really strange. 6450. I could have this wrong. This could be something other than a procedure. Yeah, I think it is. I think this is going to be looks like sprite data. It looks like this 496.11.82 is going to be an address for the fireball on the graphics ROM, and then we have EF 18. All right, 103.79 EO, let's take a look at it again. The 107.64.50 is not what I thought it was, unfortunately. Alright, so this is our object structure here. Let's take a look at it and see. It's really not a whole lot of information here we can use to uh, 79 EO. Oh, we have a, let's see, 10563. Okay, 1076350. This is probably going to be the start of this structure here. 370. Man, once again, it doesn't give a whole lot of information on the object other than it gives us information, but it's not a common structure. It's not a procedure. It doesn't look like a procedure at all. It looks like it's let's see. Yeah, this is a new structure. This is something I don't recall ever seeing. It's right, so we got a 107, 6350, and then down the line we got a 6450. And our 6350 has got a pointer. Out of curiosity, 106 FB 40. That sounds familiar. Okay, Liu Kang's is 106 BC Dio. I don't know if this is crossing to any of the other structures. Yeah, it does cross. We got a 106 FB 40 here, player 2. That's Sub-Zero's control structure. And that is what is at this pointer here. So if we go 6350 is pointing to probably the target of the projectile. This is a lot of hunting just to fix this little bug that it's not a real big bug, but I mean it does look a little strange when it happens, so. It's 10379 EO, and this is D. So one of the confusing things is that the object structure for the fireball also inherits the character ID. As you can see there, the character ID is D, and that equates to Liu Kang. So there's not an easy way to distinguish that from just looking at the object ID. Alright, so let's take a look at 106 BCDO. This is Liu Kang's control procedure here, and he should have 190 BE60. Okay, so yeah, the 160 or 190 offset in Liu Kang's control, or any player's control procedure, if they have a projectile, it's going to point to the object of the projectile. So what we can do, we can probably do the offset check at 160 of the current procedure here in A13, and that'll tell us um, if it does have a projectile. And we can probably compare that to what's currently in A8, and that should tell us. Okay. Alright, so let's do that. So I kind of want to just get rid of, well, let's get rid of this one. And I'm also thinking that that might be a better way to check this one as well. So I see 130 and 190H. So this is going to get an object location if it is an object. And to runtime, if it's equal, which means it's 0, we're going to assign object into opponent. But if it's not, we're going to compare to see if it's our current object that is hitting our character. This is pretty much doing the same thing that we've got done, but in a shorter manner. Let's see. It's a projectile. Okay, so if they are equal, we want to jump to. It's a projectile. It's going to. Okay, so that should work. Of course, we're gonna check it. So normally, like I explained before, if you haven't, if you didn't hear it before, but with 2v2 tags, I took the hitbox routine and updated it so the defender that's getting hit, he always faces towards the direction of the hit. This was critical when doing tags and tagging from the opposite side of the screen because it fixed a lot of the problems that would cause reactions with reversed animations, reversed facing directions. So that fixed most of those problems, but we have one little problem here with Kang's Fireball, since it's a unique situation, that he turns around and faces the opposite direction. Primarily because the Fireball is kind of indistinguishable from Liu Kang himself, because the Fireball procedure seems to inherit Liu Kang's control procedure address for some reason. I think it's a factory mess up. And also, the Fireball object inherits Liu Kang's object ID as well. So we had to go an extra step here, and we went to the offset of the current procedure in A13 at the 190 offset to check and see if there's an address there. If there's an address there, then that address is going to be the object location for a projectile. So if it is a projectile, we're going to check to see if that is the same address that is in A8. If it is, then we know that the address in A8, which is currently hitting our defender, is a projectile, and it's in this scenario we're going to jump this object assignment into the opponent. So pretty much if it comes back as a projectile, we're going to skip the dynamic focal point update of the defender that just got hit. So we'll see how this works, see if it fixes that problem, and hopefully doesn't cause any other problems. Because sometimes when you fix one thing, you break another thing. Just the way it goes sometimes. Alright, so that's updated. We're going to run and update our jumps. And FOO, that's good. F2CO. So after this is fixed, this should be it for this would be a good release candidate for you guys. 550. F730, F620. Alright, so that's good. I'll update that. Alright, so let's see. I have a scenario that I think is going to be broken here. Let's see, let's go. Okay, let's breakpoint the hit update. Alright, so there is our object being detected in the 190 offset of the control structure, so we know it's a projectile and it's going to match. So we're going to do this. We're going to jump, skip the update. So since it skipped the update, I'm curious to see the reaction of Sub-Zero when we tag from the other way. Okay, so his reaction is a little inverse there, but if that is if that's what it is and it fixes the other problem, I think we're okay with that for now. Get my volume working here. Damn lag. Oh, you know what? Yeah, okay. Alright, so let's go back to the drawing board on that. Seems like didn't do us any better. Alright, so why are we updating? There's something I'm missing here with the object focal point is it doesn't do it until, well, okay. I was saying it wasn't doing it until you walked forward past the object and Sub-Zero turns around, but kind of answered my own question. Alright, let's see, let's do... Alright, so we're at 103, 4860, and that should be... Let's see, so these are Scorpion's attributes coming in, and 106, 0830, and 103, 4860. Okay, so currently Liu Kang is in Sub-Zero's procedure here, so let's see where this goes bad again. You guys and troopers here hanging out, squashing this nasty little bug here. I know it's not the most interesting thing to watch, so I wonder what keeps you guys watching sometimes when it goes, when it gets down these slow and boring paths here. Alright, so 0, D20. Oh, I see. Wait a minute. I see. Where's... Okay. Oh, I got it. Okay, here we go. I know, Michael. You just can't wait to get your hands on this. So I overlooked this portion here. We're not even getting to our checks here. So let's do this. Let's quickly rearrange this, because this is where it should be. Let's see. Okay, so let's check primary objects. So we're going to put this in there, and we're going to jump to this if it's 0. But if it's not 0 in the structure, the 190 offset of the procedure, then we know it's going to be a projectile. We're going to compare. If so, then it will actually disable the assignment update. Okay, so since we just relocated instead of adding any code, we should be good with no hook updates. We just have to put in the new code and build it real fast and see what happens here. Shit. Alright, so let's see what we got. Alright, so first things first, let me do a breakpoint and see how it's going to look. Alright, so there's our object, jump, they are the same, and it jumps the assignment, and wait a minute. Oh, I see what we forgot about pushing our stack at the beginning here. Alright, so we had to relocate that because let's try that again. Tedious work, I tell you. It is tedious work sometimes. You gotta really love doing it to keep going at it. Sometimes it's a little difficult. For me, with UMK3, it's kind of like that. MK2 wasn't so much, just because I love MK2 a lot more. But everybody's got their favorites. I'm sure there's a lot of people that that love this one the most out of the 2D games. Alright, so let's save that, and let's go back to okay, so here we go. We're good on that part, so as expected, not a big deal. Oh, I forgot to oh, look at that. Look at that. It looks like we are working like we should. I'll keep trying it though, just to make sure we're good. Hopefully there's no adverse effects to the other projectiles. I don't expect any, but alright, so perfect. Okay, perfect. So he no longer changes his focal point to the fireball. Great, great, great. Okay. So now I'm curious on how this is going to look on. Yeah, exactly what I thought there. Let's see something though. We're in a weird state here. I can't load a state. I can't reset. Alright, we're just going to restart here because that was no good. I think it's crashing hard. There we go, finally. Finally. Alright, so what I want to try, I wanted to see if... Okay, so... okay, so that's the same thing. So it seems like when I'm restoring save state 9, it has a big problem with that. So this is before the one player was fixed. So I'm going to go to a previous build, and I want to check that spear for Scorpion real fast. Let's see, that was O. Alright, so we'll save that. Oh, crap. Save it at O. There we go. Now we're good. Okay, so that already existed. That seems to be something which you shouldn't be able to tag when you're throwing your spear like that. So I'll have to check into that now. But all right, so let's say our Liu Kang problem is fixed. We'll save that. We'll close that. We'll get out of there. So what we got to do is fix the spear. I don't think you should be able to tag while your spear is actively being deployed. That'll cause all kinds of problems. Let's see. I think I have that in here already though. So let's see why it's not working. Alright, so we should have a check current moves. Okay. Tag requirements. Alright, so let's run through and see at one point. Let's do a breakpoint on this tag and see what our current situation is with Scorpion. Let's see, so we have cooldown, we got start press, check, we have pushback flag, which we don't use, endurance, okay, we don't use that, this is good, we can take that out of there, character status, okay, let's put a breakpoint here and check out Scorpion's status to disable a tag when the spear is deployed here. It's only a problem before the spear hits. I didn't get the tag. Let's try again. Uh, 25 DO. Alright. Shit. Try again. Alright, so here is our status for Scorpion. See, 180 is our control thread location. Yeah, 107.47.90 is Scorpion's control structure. And then his current status is 11, which is, let's see, 604. So yeah, this is also how I have it, I think, in MK2. If you're showing a 604 as your current move index, that means you're on a recovery from a projectile, and I don't feel you should be allowed to tag if you're recovering from a projectile. Kind of makes it too easy to play a defensive move when you should be punishable. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we will check for that 604 at the, let's see, 210, 200 at the 1FO. So we'll do that. Status mat. Alright, so what we'll do is we'll put current move 1FO. Okay, so we have it here, so all we have to do is put in 604. I wonder how this is going to work with Katana's fan lift. Or Sindel's scream. Let's see what that status is. Just for shits, we gotta see that. You know what? Let's see. We have to go check current move. Alright, so let's do repeat clear, and let's do a breakpoint on this location here. Okay, so we're on a 10F. Let's see, 107, let's verify 107, 5C60 plus 1FO, and we're at... Okay, so we're good on that. We're good on the screen. I know some of these setups are in high demand, so I'm trying to keep as many as possible. Okay, so let's see Katana's. Okay, she's got 11V for her move. Okay, so great. 604 is not affecting the scream or the fan lift. It is just projectile recovery. Okay, great. So that's going to work great. Okay, so with that addition, anytime you're in a projectile recovery condition, you won't be able to tag. It's just the way I feel it should be, just because you are recovering, and if you miss, you should be punished. So that also alleviates any problem with Scorpion Spear. If you were to tag and land your spear from the opposite side of the screen, that should fix that as well. So that shouldn't become a problem at all. Alright, so let's put this in. Alright, so that's good. Let's build it. So hopefully this is all it. I mean, I think I got everything fixed. Hopefully I didn't cause any new problems. We shall see though. Let's do this. Let's run it through the other version of MAME with the graphics and also because it runs a little bit better without debugger. So one of the new updates today was the disability of selecting duplicate characters on the same side. So you can't double up on the same character, or else you'll get that. If time happens to run out, then it will either select a character, one of the characters closest to your currently highlighted character. Alright, so that's good. Oh, now we have to see why the spear, why we were allowed to tag there. We shouldn't have been able to tag. Alright, so let's see. What happened? Alright, so what we'll do is we'll pull up our script and see what's going on here. Check current move. Okay. Okay, so we're checking our current move. 604. Clearing C. Oh, you know what? I think we had it wrong. We have to go to... Alright, jump to if C is carried. Oh, that's why. Yep. What we want to we don't want to clear C. We want to set C. Double smoke. I don't know, man. Double smoke is, I don't know, it's a pretty novice move there, Mariano. I think you're better than that. Okay, so if it is 604, we're going to set C. So when we return from our routine of checking the move, we're going to jump to runtime if C is carried, which is check tag requirements. That's pretty much resetting our loop. Alright, so we have... There we go. Okay, so we're good. Let's test it again. Again, we shouldn't be able to tag while spearing or recovering from any projectile for that matter. Alright. Okay, so yeah. Cannot tag while recovering. You tag after the spear has landed. That was weird. What was that? Oh, look at that. Let's see, so kind of bug I must have caused. I'm going to say it's in our object. Our object, right here. It's going to be in this one. All right, so. See, I told you, you fix one thing, you break another thing sometimes. It's just the way it goes. So let's see where we took a wrong turn. So let's just punch. Yep, that's all it is, just a punch. Well, the good news is it's probably a simple jump. I bet it's just a jump. Oh, here we go. Right here. This happens all too often. There's a jump being called here. But the problem is it doesn't need a jump because the location is the very next instruction. Let's get rid of that. We don't need that old code. So all we need to do is update this jump. So if the registers are not the same, it's going to jump to secondary procedures. It's the same. Scorpion doesn't need his punch. What up, Cabuloso? How you doing? kind of think some of these extra checks are unnecessary now that we've got a pretty good projectile check routine. We don't have to go into these second and third checks just to make sure. But this one's checking the control thread. Checking secondary. Let's see. Let's make sure we do this right here. Pair of registers. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we can jump to runtime of equal assign object into opponent. That's gonna jump here. We don't need this. Return hitbox object update. Alright, so let's see. Our primary objects, I'm just going to check for a projectile. If it's a projectile and it matches what is hitting our player, it's going to turn hitbox object update. So this is what's going to be key, is testing these projectiles during 2v2, because this is seeming a little too easy of a fix. I feel like there's going to be more that's going to be needed, because we've got a basic projectile check, and it's going to skip the update if the if it is an object projectile. But if not, it's going to check our threads. It's going to see if the attacker is one of our current attackers or current players in play. If so, it's going to assign their object to the opponent's structure. This is all types of fun. So let's, I guess let's go there. We can close this tag one now that we have the spear, or I should say the projectile recovery index covered. So no more tags if you're recovering from a projectile move. You're going to be punished. No more frame advantage, Michael. Let's see if that one's good. Let's update the rest of them. F2 BO. F3 10. F3 70. Sindel's Scream is not a projectile recovery move. I checked that, so even if it was, I feel as if you would fight for that just because you like Sindel so much. She needs a good nerfing. Alright, so F620, F610. We should be good there, so let's run this update and see. Killer Instinct Plus. Oh man. Well, I have a rule, Cabuloso. I will not do a project on a game that I don't own. So unless I can get my hands on a Killer Instinct PCB, I will not do any serious project with it. Because I want to make sure that they work for the machines as well as MAME. Okay, what is going on there? So if you want to send me a Killer Instinct PCB, by all means. Oh, you know what I did? I did the same thing. Did the same. I got the same problem I had. Okay. Yeah, so we don't need that one. So we're just gonna put a little knob in there. We're just gonna knob it up. So updating 5 hooks. That's what we're gonna do. Alright, so alright, so we are good now. Crash fixed. Okay, seems like we are pretty good. I have no idea about fatalities in this game. Believe it or not, I couldn't tell you one fatality in this game. One finishing move. That's how much I don't play MK3. No, a couple moves. That's... Alright, so, someone buy, yeah, someone buy me an overpriced Killer Instinct PCB. Those things are just stupid price nowadays. I can't believe what people are asking for those games on eBay. Alright, so let's play, let's monkey around here in the updated build of MAME. Here we go. So there's a sound you get when you try to select the same character. It pretty much tells you your kung fu is weak. Oh my god, what is going on? What is going on? Oh, you know what? That's what it was. I forgot to save that update here. That one that we knocked out that instruction because the jump was no bueno. Alright, so let's try it again. Let's go in here. Let's get... Okay, so we should be good. Oh, you got a nice storm, huh? I see down back. It's been kind of a lackluster season up here for storms. Some interesting combos people are going to be able to. Maybe we put a code in for limitations for the hits for the combos to be removed for special moves. Because currently the default is, I believe, 3 hits on most moves. What's up there, Ruben?
Fight. Well done. Smoke.
Oops, that's not what I wanted. Once again, I know no fatalities in this game. Ice blocking me over here. That's alright, we'll just do that. Seems like it's ready for the glorious testing of Michael Post. Let's see, can you... Okay, you can do the ice clone in the air. Okay. Yeah, but I think it's a move. The move limiter or something. I wasn't able to do it. Let's see. Yeah, I can't do it on the entry. Ooh, whiffed. Swing and a whiff. Oh, you know what? That's right, that's right. Let's see something here. The old endurance. Okay, so the endurance... Well, let's make sure our setting's on. So there's a setting called randomizer, which you guys probably know. But if not, I'll run it down real fast. Let me show you what that's about. So, with randomizer on, all these opponents, all these towers are random. And the endurance match before Motaro is, we tried to base those upon the story of the game as best as possible. So if you're classic Sub-Zero, you'll probably run into, Sector or Cyrax. And also those endurance matches will also be reflected by the level of difficulty. If you're on very hard, you'll have a 3-man endurance matches. But another cool thing, if you don't know about that, is you can press start here at the towers, and it'll turn it into an all endurance tower. And this is also difficulty based as well. If you're on very difficult, then you'll have 3-man endurance matches all the way up the tower.
Round 1. Fight.
This is the Jade of MK2, isn't it?
Well done.
I got robbed. Yeah. So, newsflash, I'm terrible at this game. Real terrible.
Finish him. Melina wins. Animality. Smoke. Round one. Fight. Well done. Shiva wins.
I can't even cheese my way to a fight. To a win. Wow, I got...
Superb.
Yeah, I got robbed. As you can tell, it's very difficult because I had three opponents in the endurance. We'll give it one more shot, but it's probably not going to be very good. It's the computer. You know, the computer can do that. Computer can do that with no mercy. If I remember correctly, you gotta mercy to get a animality. Am I right on that?
Melina wins. Round two. Fight.
I know with the female ninjas, you can low punch and it'll jump over you, right? Oh, I had it right there. Okay. Well, that's how bad I am at this game, I guess. I just gotta play it more. That's all. Not a big deal. Alright, so I'm gonna get this over to Michael so him and his brother can do some testing on their machine, and we'll see if there's any kind of problems. Hopefully not. If everything is all good, then like I said, we'll get this to the contributors first. They'll have it for a week or so, and let them play with it. Maybe they'll find something that we missed, and after that, we'll be ready, I guess, to release it to the public. Beta 1 will be ready. So we got some good things done today. We've got the character select screen. Just about all finished. We got all the bugs and everything worked out. One thing it doesn't have yet is random select. But I mean, that's not a big deal breaker. That can be in the next beta. Other than that, it's pretty good. What else? I think that's about it. I can't think of anything else I need to cover. I'm just kind of looking at attract mode here for a minute.
Sub-Zero. Don't make me laugh.
Okay, let's see where this attract mode goes, because trying to recall if there was a section where it hooked in from game over to check what attract mode you had, if you had the original or if you had the story one that was imported from MK3. Looks like we've got. Looks like it's on the old setting, the original.
Striker.
All right, well. Yeah, original. Okay. That explains it. Okay. Cool. Alright, so that'll do it for this stream. 3 hours, 3 hours and 15 minutes. Pretty good stream. Got a lot of stuff fixed. And most importantly, it looks like I can get these metrics. It looks like we've had 41 dropped frames overall, but less than 1/10% after 3 hours or so of streaming. So that's a plus side. Looks like the stream is back in full effect. So that'll do it for now. I'm going to get these over to the testers. Maybe Parallax will do some streaming, and we'll get some machine testing done also. Make sure all these bugs are all worked out, and we'll get this thing wrapped up and ready for release. So thanks for watching, and you guys have a good night.